My grandmother bought a washing machine in 1987, a top-load Speed Queen, mechanical timer, 2 knobs, no screen, no Wi-Fi. It washed clothes for 31 years. When she passed, the machine still ran. We had to donate it because nobody wanted to move it. It weighed 87 pounds of solid steel. Last year, a family in Ohio bought a front-load washer, brand new, $849 at Home Depot. 16 months later, the drum bearing failed. The repair, quote, $700. For a $849 machine? They didn't buy a defective machine. They bought exactly what was designed. Here's what nobody tells you when you're standing in that appliance aisle. The machine you're looking at has an expiration date, not printed on the box, not mentioned by the salesman. But it's there engineered into the design at the factory before the machine ever left the floor. And the bearing is where it starts. But before we get to the bearing, I need to tell you something about who actually owns the machine you're looking at. Because the brand name on the front of that washer is almost certainly lying to you. And that lie is the reason this entire scam is possible. Walk into any Home Depot or Lowe's appliance section today. You will see Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, KitchenAid. They look like 4 separate companies competing for your money. They are not. Every single one of those brands is owned by the same corporation, Whirlpool Group. They share the same factories, the same parts, and the same design decisions. GE Appliances, Hotpoint, and Cafe, same story. All owned by Haier, a Chinese manufacturing conglomerate that bought GE's appliance division in 2016. LG and Samsung are their own companies, but they follow the same playbook. Because when 4 corporations control 90% of the American appliance market, there is no competitive pressure to build anything that lasts. The incentive runs the other direction. Build it cheaper, build it faster, and build it so that when it breaks, the repair costs enough that the customer buys a new one instead. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a publicly documented business strategy called planned obsolescence, and the sealed bearing is one of its cleanest executions. Every front-load washing machine has a drum bearing. It's the component that lets the drum spin thousands of times per cycle, year after year, without grinding itself apart. In machines built before 2005, that bearing was mounted in a cast iron housing, serviceable, replaceable. A $40 part any appliance mechanic could swap in an afternoon. Somewhere around 2006, the major manufacturers LG, Samsung, Whirlpool, GE quietly made a change. They moved to a sealed bearing design. The bearing is no longer a separate, replaceable component. It's pressed directly into a welded plastic outer drum tub. One sealed, non-serviceable unit. When the bearing fails, and it will fail because bearings always fail, you cannot replace just the bearing. You have to replace the entire outer drum assembly. That part alone costs $300 to $500. Add labor, and you're looking at $600 to $900 to fix a machine you bought for $800. This is not an accident. This is arithmetic. When the repair costs more than 80% of a new machine, most people buy a new machine. That is the business model. Now here's the part that should make you angry. The sealed bearing design is not more durable. It is not more efficient. It does not wash your clothes better. Independent appliance repair technicians, the ones who have torn apart thousands of these machines, will tell you the sealed design actually fails faster than the open bearing design it replaced. Because when a sealed drum unit sits in a damp environment and the plastic tub cracks even slightly, moisture gets into the bearing race and corrodes it from the inside. With an open design, you catch that early. You replace a $40 bearing. With a sealed unit, by the time you hear the grinding noise, the entire drum assembly is already compromised. A 2019 survey by Consumer Reports found that front-load washers had a significantly higher repair rate in years 3 through 5 than top-load mechanical models. The number one failure point cited by repair technicians, the drum bearing assembly. The manufacturers know this data. They funded some of it themselves. They sealed the bearing anyway. So here's the verdict: fix or trash. For a front-load washer with a failed sealed bearing that's more than 3 years old, trash it. The math doesn't work. The repair will cost you nearly as much as a replacement, and the replacement drum has the same sealed bearing that will fail again in another 3 to 5 years. You are not solving the problem. You are paying to restart the clock. But here's what you do instead, and this is the part of the video they really don't want you to see. If you're replacing a front-load washer right now, there are exactly 2 directions worth considering. Option 1, Speed Queen TC5. Top load, mechanical transmission, no sealed bearing, no touchscreen, no Wi-Fi. It has a stainless steel wash basket running on an open, serviceable bearing that any appliance tech can replace for under $60. Speed Queen publishes their full parts diagrams publicly on their website. You can order any component yourself from any supplier without voiding the warranty. The TC5 carries a 5-year warranty on parts and labor. The industry standard is 1 year. That gap tells you everything about how long each manufacturer expects their machine to last. Speed Queen's parent company, Appliance Laundry Systems, also manufactures the commercial washers used in laundromats. The same machines that run 15 cycles a day, 365 days a year, for 20 years without replacement. The TC5 is a residential version of that machine. It is not cheap. It costs around $900 to $1,000, but a machine that lasts 25 years at $1,000 costs you $40 a year. A machine that lasts 5 years at $850 costs you $170 a year before the $700 repair bill. Option 2, go used, go old. A top-load washer built before 2005 Speed Queen, Maytag made in Newton, Iowa, Kenmore manufactured by Whirlpool before the brand degradation will have an open bearing design, a mechanical timer with no circuit board to fry, and metal parts heavy enough to actually feel like they cost something. You can find them on Facebook Marketplace for $75 to $150. Run a quick model number search to confirm the manufacturing date and origin. A used washing machine from 1998 with an open bearing, properly maintained, will outlast anything on the showroom floor today. The parts are still available. The repair manuals are still online. Any competent appliance tech can service it. The sealed bearing change cost American families billions of dollars in premature appliance replacements over the last 20 years. The manufacturers knew exactly what they were doing when they welded that drum shut. They didn't seal it to make it cleaner. They didn't seal it to make it more efficient. They sealed it because a bearing you can't replace is a customer they keep forever. Every major appliance in your home right now has a version of this story. The refrigerator compressor designed to fail at year 7. The dishwasher control board that costs more to replace than the machine. The dryer heating element sealed behind a drum that requires full disassembly to access. We're going to cover all of it. Fix or trash. Now you know the answer before you buy. Subscribe and don't replace another thing until you watch this channel first.